This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. All right. It's been a minute. It's been a couple weeks since I had G Bush on. G, I just want to talk about this. I just got done doing the film breakdown for this. And I'm watching this defensive line. Like, the Browns are getting away with 7-on-3 or 7-on-4. Well, 7-on-3 coverage at times, which means 7 in the back end, 3 wide receivers for the other team. 7-on-3. And you know why? Because they're winning 4-on-7. Okay, in the front end, and they're not winning it, just winning it. They're winning it quick, because one of the things that Jim Schwartz is able to do is, hey, if you put 7 there, we're going to find a way to get 1 or 2 one-on-ones that'll ruin your life.
They're doing such a good job that there's a lot of laymen out there that are just thinking that they're blitzing a lot. And
they're not.
They're not. That's not.
They
not
put
a blitz.
5 on the line and say, I dare you. Like, they're not blitzing. They're not really sending extra guys a ton. They're just winning with 5 in the box.
Just like, looking like it.
Sometimes 4, G. Sometimes 4.
Just and that's the great thing about it is, once it's like one of those things, like, you know, like they say, one of the most dangerous things in the world to do is try to save somebody who can't swim. Because like when you jump in, you know, they flailing and they just trying to make it. They just trying to survive, and they'll pull you down and drown you. You like, man, I was trying to help you out. That's the same way it is with these offensive linemen up there. I've been seeing them, like, guys just trying to help out. And it's looking bad, because then it's like, oh no, well you trying to help me, but who's helping you in the middle? Like it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And this is the funny thing about it too. A lot of people just naturally assume that it's just Myles Garrett doing what he does. But if you go back and you look at each individual guy up front, Zadarius Smith has to have the most almost sacks in the world. Like right now, you go back and look how he's you know, just collapsing the pocket from where he at. He's had multiple times where he could have had that sack. It's just he rushed him right into where Myles Garrett was at, and the push up the middle with Tomlinson and a lot of other guys that they're running. Hey, listen, Jordan Elliott, he ain't even been terrible. Jordan Elliott, they just said, listen, hey, big fella, get up there and move and go straight. He's been doing this thing. I thought Mo Hurst had a really nice grade last week. I believe he's been
pretty good all season.
Yeah, and he's had production and a nice PFF grade. But you know, the thing I see, Q, is when you like what you're doing and you like who you work with, and the defensive coordinator is letting you play the way you want to, and you got skin in the game, he's letting those guys go up there and play. And you know how it is. It's easy to do a blog with somebody you like. You come over here, man, you do 35 hours, right? But sometimes you get them interviews where somebody set it up and you be like, dang, I got to talk to the beat reporter of the Jacksonville. Dang. All right, well, let me get through these questions real quick. You know how it go. So, you know, they playing energized, and it's almost like I can't wait to see them play defense when they punt, because they just been so dominant.
Look, I don't bring nobody on here that I got to prepare a million questions with. I'm just let y'all know, whenever y'all see a guest on this show, there's not like 12 questions here. There is, all right, man, you ready to go? We doing this live, like Bomani Jones doing with it. Right. We are just about to roll with this. We gonna get the people what they want. Freestyle interviews here, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I gotta ask a bunch of questions. The interview just ain't gonna be what it want to be, you know what I mean? There needs to be a level of flow in this for me to play my game, and I think that's also something that you hit on. I talked about this with Cam when I had her on earlier this week, and I was like, I think people really underestimate how much football for these guys is a job. Like, at the end of the day, it's a job that everybody wants, but it's a job. And just like any job, you do so much better when you like coming to work, right? People make all these complaints. Oh, Google has this and that, and Pixar has a pool table? That doesn't seem work related. And why do they have a full service bar? And it's not work. But guess what? Pixar movies be slapping every time because everybody be happy to be at work. Like, it's amazing how much better you are at your job when you don't hate doing it. Like, I'm not going to throw shade at anybody, but there are people who cover football, not saying anybody in this city, who hate their job.
They do.
And their content has suffered because it's obvious that they don't like what they're doing. And it's part of the reason somebody like me can have the following that I do, because I clearly enjoy what I'm doing, and that reflects to the audience. It's the same way in football, man. I don't know what Joe Woods doesn't know what he's doing, but I do know that at the end of the day, them dudes didn't want to be there with Joe Woods anymore. They were so tired about all this, like, hey, I got to do this, then that, and then he's got arguing about who's supposed to have responsibility here, arguing about who's supposed to be under, who's supposed to be underneath, who's supposed to take the slant, who's supposed to be curl flat, who's supposed to be hearing that. That does not sound like any fun. Jim Schwartz came in there like, we gonna kill him and we gonna dance.
Right.
And everybody's
that's what
like,
we gonna do.
Yeah, that's what we trying to do.
And you know what? Bring your best dance move. And the only way I'm gonna be mad at you is if I don't see you in that film dancing. And I say, you know what, Jim Schwartz, he understands it. He gets it.
Jim Schwartz like, yo, what you don't think this about? Like, like what you mean? Like he understands at the end of the day, when you have guys this talented, it doesn't have to be complicated. When you have guys this talented, it's more important that they just enjoy doing what they're doing, that they're happy in the spot that they're in. Jadeveon Clowney almost quit the team in the game against Baltimore. Now, Jadeveon's a naturally grumpy dude. You know what I mean? I don't think that's all on Joe Woods, but that reflects kind of the environment that was going on last year. It was what did it look like? I said this a bunch of times. Like, it looked like a bunch of dudes who don't want to go to work.
And right? John Johnson just he was feeling so bad about his life. He's like,
Denzel Ward, all these dudes, they hated it. Greg Newsome openly hated his job at that point. Like, everybody just didn't want to come to work. Nobody wanted to come to work. And when nobody wants to come to work, the work suffers. That's it. That's human understanding. That's why you need to pay people well. That's why you need to make sure that they have everything they need to be successful, because you can't just lock somebody in a broom closet and expect them to be productive. You gotta give people something to be excited about at work. You know what I mean? That's why the companies that treat their employees well ultimately have better success in the long run, right? Everybody talk about, I want a job at Google. Because they pay well, right? They treat their employees well. I want a job at Apple. Why it's no mistake that Apple and Google stay on top of the tech space, because those are the places that treat their employees well, that everybody wants to go to.
And they also have innovation. And the cool thing about innovation is the first 3 or 4 weeks that we've seen, the Cleveland Browns have been at the forefront of innovation. People have never seen the crossover.
And what spears innovation? It's not rigid thought. What spears innovation is being able to have a level of confidence to just try a bunch of stuff. Myles Garrett feeling like he has the freedom when he sees 2 tight ends that might be following him, and he goes, nah, that's for me. I'm gonna run to the other side.
Let me show you how I'll be getting tripled real quick.
Dog, they might have just accidentally discovered the microwave, by the way, with that.
Oh, because no. Yeah, I wanted to. I know you was over there thinking. You had to be thinking. I'm like, hold on. Now,
did they just discover something?
If you set the strength of a formation to either a player, does that really mean that?
Could you imagine running a reverse twist in motion with a linebacker hovering over top to make sure that if you get it snapped at the right spot, that you could, like, and then if they snap it while they're in motion, you get a running start from one of your edge rushers on an interior player. And I'm like, I don't think anybody's really thought about like trying to get guys in motion like that. And Myles, I think he discovered by accident because he's playing basketball, kind of getting himself in motion, and he got a little bit of a running start, and then he does that thing. And I think Jim Schwartz might look at that and go, can we use that? I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a reverse motion on defense. I don't know what they're going to call it, but they're going to call it a rule change in like 3 years if it works.
The league has to look at that, because think about it, Q. Realistically, how do you set up run blocking assignments if you just don't
Gee,
know,
imagine if Miles is coming in motion and he's teasing, he's coming at your outside shoulder, and then he just does that Euro step. So you have to set as if
right?
you know he's coming here, and then you're going to be in your second step by the time he gets there. He's in full speed, and he just goes around you. What do you do? What do you do?
Crazy.
Or your center's gonna have to help you chip him, and then boom, shoot a linebacker through. Right, have the guy halo over. It's they might have discovered the microwave.
They might have. Hey, y'all clip this and send it to NFL Films. If they got a rule that defensive linemen can't be moving around like that, you know why they was watching this podcast and they know exactly what it was.
Well, the Browns got a whole year before they could do something about
Right.
that. But that's I imagine if that's something like, and I don't know if this can like logistically work in the NFL. I think Jim Schwartz would probably give you a better answer for that, and he's not going to tell you. He's going to show you in a game, like if you see it. But that's one of them things. I've never thought about sending a defensive lineman in motion. I've never thought about it. And you can't do it with everybody, right?
No.
You can only do it if you have a Micah Parsons or a Myles Garrett or some extreme athlete that can also play like a linebacker in space. My goodness.
Myles Garrett might start this thing where, in college how they have bandits or they have like a Ringo player where it's an in-between linebacker. He's just or they call it a star player, where it's just a guy, JOK kind of played in this position when he was at Notre Dame. But if you legitimately think about it from an innovation standpoint, if I was a coordinator, Myles Garrett wouldn't play. He doesn't have a position. You can put him in the middle. You can just stand him up and he'll have a designated spot he would go to that where he's supposed to be at. But think about what type of damage that does to have a disruptive player like a Michael Parsons or Myles Garrett, who plays linebacker, who plays three technique, who plays end, and you can't set anything to him. Like if you want to get your guy one-on-one block anytime you want to, you can do that. Which is it's crazy that just the different things and the different variety of things.
Imagine if it looks like he's going to set up outside shoulder of a tackle. He's in the middle of the motion. You snap the ball, and instead of going around, he just cuts inside because he can do that and just goes upfield. Like
can't block that.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I don't know what you do with that. Like if they're able to execute it, I don't know what you do with that. Now the difficulty is if you run a motion on defense, you're not in control of the snap.
Yes,
but there is stuff you can do. Like you don't need it to be timed up. You just need it to move something in order to kind of control what you do with the ball there.
You can see the play clock. And they teams are good at trying to audible and get into the best play possible and make the offensive line checks. If you can see the play clock and it's at 2, it's pretty safe to say, go ahead, time that boy up. And I don't know what you do with a Myles Garrett with a 3-yard head start.
Yeah, and look, a lot of innovations in football are discovered by mistake, right? Tampa 2 was not discovered because somebody decided I want to put a linebacker and split the 2 and make it look like 3. No, it's because the linebacker kept on doing it by accident, right? Yeah. Kept on carrying this guy, and then you get Tampa 2 out of that. Or the RPO was famously discovered because of broken play, right, in practice. And that's how they were like, oh, we can do a read option. Yeah. Let me try to do that, right? Like, okay, cool. So, it might be one of those things where they just discover something new. It might just be like a fun thing. It might just be like a third down package thing. But I expect him to at least try to see if, hey, can I do something here? Like, can I really, like, what happens if I do that more often? Like, what happens when the guy with Miles' gravity just moves across the line?
Because as I think about it, if you want to set formation like strength and you say, okay, most times you want to run to, your tight end side, or you want to run to the strength of the formation. And if you got a dude that's not telling you or giving you any signal keys of where the strength of the formation is going to be, that messes with you, man. That really messes with your blocking assignments, where you want to go. I'm wondering, because they've been playing this is the 4th game. They've done something where people are going crazy because they haven't seen it yet. Just haven't seen it. And that causes you in a place where people now think that they're blitzing. And think about how that works on the back end. I've never seen Grant Delpit play this well. I've never seen Denzel Ward, even though he was his rookie year. I thought he was really confident. I thought he had lockdown capabilities. Denzel Ward is playing like I've never seen. The confident level where he's owing guys like, no, get out of here. No, stop playing.
Denzel Ward is playing a complete, like, he looks like he's back at Ohio State. And what I mean by that is nobody thought Denzel Ward would ever be a factor in the run game.
No,
he is a massive factor in the run game, right? Like, he is not just there. He's physical. He's forcing fumbles. You know what I mean? Like, he's a legitimate playmaker there. Like, I was going through the tape and I was like, there are too many guys who can ruin your day on this Browns defense. You block the offensive, you do a good job blocking Miles finally. You get a clean pocket. Okay, cool. Where's JOK at? Where's Grant Delpit? They're not ruining my day. Okay, cool. I'm going to throw at Denzel Ward. Oh, he ruined my day.
Yeah.
Like at every level of this defense, you have guys who are legitimate day ruiners. And that's what makes it difficult. That's what makes it hard to replicate stuff against this defense, right? Because you can score once on this defense, fine. You can have a good drive, but replicatable success is really difficult against this defense because at every level, there's somebody who can make a play on the ball. There's Anthony Walker's been making plays on the ball. JOK, Grant Delpit. You go back there. Juan Thornhill's been a playmaker. You got Denzel Ward back there. Like, what Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson. We forgot about him. He's really, really good. Yeah. So it's like at every level, you have somebody who, look, you execute well, you put the ball in the right place, you finally get protection, but damn it, Martin Emerson want to tip this ball up in the air. That's what the great defenses have. Multiple guys at multiple levels who can ruin your day. And this Browns defense, more so than any defense in the NFL, has that, and you can see it because, okay, the Browns leave 7 in coverage. You're so worried about the defensive line that you leave 3 guys in to block.
You
still lose.
That's a big point.
When you're talking about having to do that, you're like, I don't think people understand. People be like, oh, they could rush the passer. We'll just leave guys in. There's a sacrifice. That sacrifice is you're going to have less wide receivers going up against more guys in coverage.
Who's in the route? If you got
and it's one thing if it's a leaky coverage unit. It's another thing if that coverage unit is sticky. So now you got guys who can hold up in man, and then you can leave some linebackers underneath just in case there's a leak and a safety. Because I have 3 in man, 3 deep, just playing coverage, just bracketing stuff. Mm-hmm. I can bracket every receiver you have on the field now because you can't do nothing about that defensive line. And I'm not just bracketing them with Joes. I'm bracketing them with Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. Like, you really don't want to throw that because if you are DBs off just a little bit,
like Emerson, to me, this game, I ask you this question. Usually before the prognosis was you don't want to let Lamar Jackson get loose. You don't really want to play man to man because your backs are turned and he could get loose on you. If you playing the Ravens and traditionally what you have, are you sticking to the script and say, listen, this is just how good we is, we're going to play our game? Or do you switch it up a little bit, respect what Lamar Jackson is done to you traditionally? How would you go into the game? What do you think the Browns would do coming to this game plan?
If you Mike Tyson, you don't make adjustments until somebody makes you make adjustments, right? If you came in and you've knocked out people every week, why would you come in there and be like, oh man, here come Lamar, I'm so scared? No. You go and you send 5 guys on that line of scrimmage and you wait to see if they can stop it. Because if you could get pressure with those 5 guys, you have everything else covered. You have the flat covered, you have the deep 9 covered, you have all of these things covered because you know what? 5, 6 in the back, you're not doing nothing. I don't think any of your wide receivers are that good to do anything about that. So I'm gonna see if I can get that 5 in. I'm not about to change my style because you have somebody who can fight too. Nah, that's not how you win, right? You win by being the best version of your style. And the Browns are going to go in there, and Jim Schwartz knows well enough. You know, if he were a younger coach, a rookie coach, he might make that mistake. Oh, it's Lamar. I want to make sure, live in his fears. Jim Schwartz is smart enough to know you're not going to win nothing living in your fears. I'm going to make them beat me. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Until somebody does it, I ain't about to be out here afraid about it. That's what halftime's for. Is all right. We gonna have to go back to 6. We gonna have to play some 2-under, right?
You know what I mean? Up right quick.
Yeah, you know, right? They're getting the short stuff. You know what I mean? Denzel, you're not winning right now. We got to cut some of this, right? Like that's what the sidelines for, and that's what halftime's for. But as far as going into this game, I want to see you beat me if I put 5 on the line, right? I want to see you be able to get to the edge of our defense with the speed that we have and the aggressiveness and the discipline that these guys have in their run fits. I want to see if you can really make me like bleed, because if they can't make you bleed doing the regular, why adjust, right?
That's why I like you.
Have somebody make you bleed first. You know what I mean? I just don't see the need.
This is why I pull up on you. We didn't rehearse this. This was off the top. I said, now listen, because there's a lot of people that'll give you that talking point about what you can't do and what you can't do. And I told people, frankly, no, this defense is different. This is a little different. This is a whole
and it's like,
type of
okay,
flow.
You got Lamar Jackson, we got Myles Garrett. So like, what am I sitting here afraid of? You got a generational talent, we got a generational talent, we got Denzel Ward. Like, why, what is there to be afraid of? You know what I mean? And I think sometimes we live in our fears because, it could happen to us in Cleveland. We got bad luck and all this. And I understand the paranoia that fans have, but that's got nothing to do with what we talking about on the field. And what we talking about on the field is that, hey, they've had success versus Lamar Jackson in the past. They've gotten to him. They've been able to sack him. They've been one of the few teams athletic enough on the edges to be able to get to him. And why would, if it could happen with Joe Woods, why couldn't it happen with a better defensive coordinator? Remember how people were like, oh man, Joe Woods was good in the division though, so it's not a guarantee we have that same dominance versus Cincinnati. He came out, we was better. So if you matched up well because you were talented, and that was such an advantage because of the talent you have in specific spots, that it made you good against these teams. Why would it not carry over if you have a better coordinator putting these guys in the right place, and guys who are more excited and energized? So, I think you got to make them bleed first. I look, the Browns defense, they should look in every game to dictate what's the game going to be. Right? That's how good they are. They shouldn't look to have the game script told to them. They are going to dictate what's going to happen, right? Myles Garrett should stand there at the 25 and say, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that, and you better not leave no Pat Ricard on me one-on-one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you better not leave no tight end on me. All right? I know you better not leave 80 or Andrews. Send them out. You know what I mean? You better chip me, because if you don't, I'm going to be at your franchise quarterback every day, every play. And if you ain't going to do that, okay, my homeboy going to be there on that other side. So what's the plan there? Morgan Moses, is that all y'all doing on that? Because my homeboy going to be there too. And if y'all do something about that, we going to spread this thing out and send JOK through. So the Browns should look, especially at home, to dictate the pace on defense. And that's how they should play the game. And offensively, I think this is a great game for Deshaun to decide he going to stand in the pocket and be a gangster, right? That's what I need for him, right? He needs to stand in there and deal and be a gangster. And I'm about to get hit. I'm going to hit you.
All my material, bro. I was supposed to ask you this question 5. You supposed to stop the track, and I was supposed to ask you about the offense, and then you start preaching, and you got all in your bag, and you went over the all.
My bad. Let me let you cook. Man.
And then you got in the joy. I'm like, dang, this dude is cooking. He over here preaching. I almost had the collection plate. Stop the collection plate. Stop it.
Yeah. I can't stand somebody talking about, so we got to worry about Lamar Jackson. What the Ravens doing about Myles Garrett?
He was triggered.
Like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? We ain't got one of the best defensive players in the universe. We so worried about what somebody else going to do. Like, come on, man. You got Myles Garrett. You play your game. Yeah. Did we do this with LeBron? Like,
I was just about to say that too.
What are the Wizards gonna do? Oh man, we gotta worry about Gilbert Arenas. Nah, they gotta worry about LeBron. Okay, like
Caron Butler. What are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do about Antoine Jameson? Like, nah,
Brandon
dog.
Haywood.
Like, you know what I mean? They cold. Gilbert Arenas is cold.
Nice. The uniform's
but we
trash.
got the bigger problem, right? Like, we have the bigger issue for them to solve.
Yeah.
So that's until that becomes something like, hey, if they do a good job locking up that line, now we got something to talk about. But in the words of Stringer Bell, for our second wire reference, I'm gonna worry about that when that happens.
Right. And the words of Avon, listen, he didn't even say this. We don't like no co-op. We don't like to do co-op. I want my corners speed. Maybe I'm just an old-fashioned gangster. I want my corners.
Because we gonna worry about that one when it comes time to worry about it. Because I don't think anybody's gonna do it yet. You know what I mean? Like, if Miles is playing like this, good luck trying to block him with your old line. Especially if they saying 5. Good luck, man. Good luck.
It's going to be a big, because I seen you hinting at it. I was hinting at it too. Like, with the personnel that they got and how they moving right now, it ain't like it's just not the fact that they good this year. This could be, if they have health and things fall their way, you can look at this as one of the special units all time. And people say, you crazy for that. Why you crazy? And I'm like, nah, like, think about it. Like, they've kind of stopped some guys. They stopped 3 of the best receivers. They tried to say it was rain and cool. You saw with
it's
Derrick
funny,
Henry,
G,
like,
how these 3 games in the offseason were a gauntlet. I can't see how the Browns are going to get out of this with more than 2 wins. It's so tough. Oh, man. All this stuff. They're going to be tested at every level. We was talking about this like we had to go through the rings of hell in July. Like, we was going through Dante's Inferno, and then all of a sudden we pop out 2-1. Oh, it was a clown schedule. They're not
Derrick
that
Henry
good.
is washed.
They're washed, and these teams suck, and they're not actually well. It's funny how that changed. And you know what I mean? It's funny, right?
It is.
It's hilarious.
Now, if they hit,
we got an easy schedule.
If they hit a running quarterback like Lamar Jackson and they shut all that down, you get a bye week. And then you got the 49ers and one of the most diverse running attacks in the league. So they're going to run from every level, from receivers to tight ends, going to run the ball, play action, whatever. If they ball out that game, what are you going to say? You going to bring Brady out of retirement? What are you going to say? Because
they going to say something.
I'm waiting. But the great thing about it is, no matter what they're gonna have to talk about. It's
crazy hearing it's only the Titans. Like the Titans haven't been like a decent team for the last 6 years.
They win 8 games perennially. That's what they said. They win 8-9 games
at the very least. They almost made the playoffs last year, starting Josh Dobbs for the last 2 games. It's funny to me how the Titans suddenly turned into beating. It's as if they beat the Bears, right? Or the Broncos, or some kind of laughingstock team. But it's this schedule that everybody swore was so tough and so hard. And it's why people were giving the Browns 6-11. Don't ever forget. People were telling you this football team was going to be 6-11, partly because the beginning of this schedule so tough. Right? Remember those conversations that we had.
I heard some people saying 4s. They was acting like they couldn't even mention. We don't even know how to mention the Cleveland Browns names because it's just so tough.
So we talking about people who said that about the Browns, that about the schedule. All of a sudden they do this, and then now what's the excuse? Well, the schedule was easy. It wasn't that last month. You wasn't saying that last month where you're like, LOL, the Browns will start 1-2 or 0-3. Now they start 2-1 and you're not shutting up. You just changing the story, right? It's just what it's been, right? Oh, okay. Now they haven't played anybody. Yep. Now Joe Burrow chopped liver, right? Okay, yeah, it was raining. That's why Jamar Chase never got open in that game ever once, right? You know what I mean? That's why T. Higgins went 0-8 on all his targets. It was the Browns defense had nothing to do with that, even though Deshaun had a significantly better game playing on the opposite side of that. Nah. Nah, it was all the rain and it's Joe Burrow's calf and it's
when
all
they
this
really
stuff.
good, they gonna even with Deshaun, they gonna strip his medals.
And
even
then
if he plays 3 or 4 games well, it's gonna be really was it him or was it Kevin Stefanski in that defense?
And then week 2, Kenny Pickett, okay, we made him look bad, but everybody was like, well, he just looks bad. And then week 3, all of a sudden people want to put him for offensive player of the week, right? Because he had a couple of good passes, because maybe he's not that terrible when he's not playing 2 elite defenses back to back. Maybe that's the thing. Hey, the Tennessee Titans put 27 points on what is a pretty iffy defense in the Chargers, but they put up 27 points. And I'll tell you, I watched the film. They executed well. The Browns just had too many dudes. They had too many dudes. There was stuff that could have been open, should have been open, but the Browns are able to make a play on it, or somebody crashes down, or Grant Delpit's fast as hell coming around the corner, or JOK. It's just scraping. I saw a play where JOK turned the corner in like 2 yards.
It's just like he just turned his shoulders and he was there.
Yeah, he did this little scoot, and I was like, "Damn, dog!" Like, what?
For real?
He scraped it. I'm like, I don't even see Miles do that.
So it's like a blitz, or did you just read keys on that?
No, he just read keys. like it was. That's what was happening, right? Like, again, people will continue to sleep on it, but we've been seeing this defense operate at this level here in Cleveland for like 7 weeks. Every time we brought this defense somewhere new. You know what I mean? It's like Beyonce know the Renaissance tour hot because she toured it in Europe before she brought it to the U.S. and the reviews were great. Well, our European tour was exquisite in the preseason.
We seen Hurst in them and Oboe balling. I said, if they get back there that quick, I said.
Jason Kelsey went out of his way to talk about how good this defense is going to be.
Yeah, he did. And
in Detroit practice.
And he's in the opposite division, opposite conference. He was like, hold on, by the way,
Myles Garrett took 3 reps against the Philadelphia Eagles, and they had a beat reporter tweet out, half a heartbeat, I'm taking Myles over Nick Bosa, who was the former reigning defensive player of the year, which tell me what has to happen for somebody to be like, yeah, nah, Myles better. Like, it's not even close. What did he do to that poor left tackle? All right. Like, what did he do to that man? Because he probably destroyed him. Myles Garrett is that good, man. This defense is that good. This is not a mirage. This is not Cam Wembley out here looking good. These are legitimate dudes.
You gonna say Cam Wembley? Come on, man. You gonna bring him
This ain't Jabal Sheard. This ain't Ataya Rubin. This ain't
Kiki Mingo.
Yeah, this ain't, this ain't none of that. None of that. This ain't just like, oh, they're playing well. No. These are some of the best football players in the world playing in a system that allows them to be the best football players in the world. And that's why they look like this. And look, they're not going to shut every team down to 8 first downs. But the fact that they could do that to 3 NFL teams in a row tells you that first downs are going to be pretty hard to get. Okay. Like, 8 first downs, G. The Browns had 20 in the game that they played in Cincinnati. Everybody swore the offense looked terrible in, right? 21 first downs. They've given up maybe 24 all season.
I mean, just Derrick Henry's face. Like, Derrick Henry was like, I have not seen Derrick Henry that demoralized in my life. Like, he was like, I mean, he was getting a rock and there was just tattooing him. He wasn't even, he couldn't get no momentum going. He looking around like, can we run? Like, what's going on here? Like, and Derrick Henry is one. Let's not act like he's not one of those dudes. Like, Derrick Henry a couple years ago when OBJ was first game here, when we came in 2019, we was riding high. That was some of the biggest hype I've ever seen for the Browns.
Oh yeah, completely ruined that day.
And he came in.
Talk about a day ruiner.
Woo! He ruined our whole afternoon. Caught that screen pass for like 100
Season
yards.
Never recovered from that game. The season never. By the way, this is how you know this team's a little different, because that game against Pittsburgh was a season ruiner, they just came back. And they did not allow that to ruin their season. You know
what? There was a game against Pittsburgh. That might have been during the pandemic, where one of the first few plays, Baker Mayfield got fooled. Through the slant right into one under. Yep, I remember that. They throw it still to this day on that Robert. They're like, we're gonna beat it.
every time. Like that must be Stefanski. Like we just gonna beat it. We gonna beat it. Be better. Like, he coming out of double nickel blitz. We gonna beat it. All right. Like,
that just goes to show you we be downloading these L's because like they be too like I'm like man I remember that play like it was eerily the same way. And the thing about it too, what impressed me was the Browns could have came out here and they could have got smoked by the Titans. It was set up. Nick Chubb, your best player's hurt. Your quarterback ain't playing well. It looked like the whole city is up in arms because like he not looking like he wanted to. This was set up for you to get the brakes beat off you. Really, to be truthful, I could have saw where an alternate universe where Derrick Henry comes in and they're running the ball, they're efficient, and they get you up out of here. But for the defense to be like, no, we're not gonna let that ride,
dog. Elijah Moore fumbled that ball and gave the Titans a free end zone, like a free red zone possession. And it's like it pissed the Browns defense off. I've never seen, like, it was like, how dare you accept this fumble? Now we're going to push you back about 9 yards. Myles Garrett, back to back on that drive, by the way. People have put this out. Back to back. Completely destroys his man, gets a run stuff on Derrick Henry that made Derrick Henry look like a rookie. Like, just gets there right as he's getting the ball. Just had nothing. Derrick Henry just looked completely helpless. And then came back around and forced a fumble. And like, this isn't the first time we've seen him do something. Remember in Pittsburgh a couple years ago, well, against Pittsburgh, where he forced the game to a tie, basically by himself. He had like 3 straight possessions like that. Last year in the opening game, he had like 2 straight sacks. Like, it's like he's capable of hitting this different gear at times where he's just like, nobody can do a single thing with me. And I think what's different now is that he has the confidence and he's trusted enough to just do whatever he wants. And that's a dangerous, like, I think JJ Watt was talking about it. He was like, see where he's at? He's in this zone. And I've been there a couple times in my career where it's like, nobody can do anything about it. Nobody. I could sing the theme song to Sesame Street and I'm going to get this sack. Like, it does not matter.
That's so crazy, Q, because, I mean, I played D-line and I understand how hard it is to get sacks. It ain't like you could just dial that up. Like you can have the best move in the world and you can be setting this move up all game and the quarterback just gets rid of the rock and you're just back to ground zero. Now what do? Set it up again? No. It's almost, that's why when I get mad at some of my colleagues because they be talking about dumb stuff like Myles needs to show up because for leadership and he should have been driving that fast and he's immature. I'm like, listen, bro, at the end of the day, listen, you guys are acting like this man don't already have the sack lead in the history of your team. So if you're going to sit here and say he's not good, you got to say everybody else that you've ever seen play in the Browns uniform on defense is not good. And you can't say that. He flipped his car and then was hurt. And then on top of that, played the rest of the season and still got 16 sacks.
By the way, much more efficient than last year in less games with a bunch of scrubs next to him. Like,
even Bryant's.
Like, some disrespect, but no disrespect to those dudes. But they know they shouldn't have been out there starting. They know they shouldn't have been out there. They know that they was getting away with time card theft. Like, it is what it is.
Are you clocking in 5 minutes early and not really doing anything?
When you get 16 sacks and your next highest sack leader got 3, Myles got 3.5. Myles got more sacks in one game this year than his help got him all season.
That's rough. And not only that, they couldn't even play the run, dog. They at least play one half of the
understatement. They could not play the run to save their life. At some point, just sacrifice yourself. Make a pile. Just don't get destroyed.
They
had me playing classical music over the defensive line last year because it was art how terrible they were. Like, that's how bad I was last year, and it's just completely different. But G, I don't want to take all your time. We're gonna head over to your channel, talk about some stuff that you wanna talk about. Let's see what you got going on down there.
You know what I mean? Run to the shop, man. Man. welcome on into the barbershop.
Hold on
Look
one
who I
sec, one
found.
sec.